A bank lobby froze in silence. A woman stood at the counter, her request denied, her dignity questioned, and then, with calm eyes and steady breath, she spoke 5 words that turned the room upside down. "I own this bank." Asterisk, the line had barely left her lips when the entire bank seemed to stop breathing. Employees froze in place. Customers turned their heads, and the security guard's hand, once hovering near his radio, fell away in shame. The woman at the counter did not raise her voice. She did not plead. She simply stood there, shoulders squared, eyes steady, as the weight of disbelief filled the air. Her name was Leela Grant. To the staff, she looked like any other customer, a woman in her 40s, dressed with quiet elegance, requesting to withdraw money from her own account. But when the teller questioned her, demanding extra identification, suggesting she wait while management approved, the truth of the moment became clear. This was not about paperwork. This was about respect. Leela had endured moments like this before. She had learned to carry them like scars invisible to the eye. Yet beneath her calm silence lived a story none of them knew. A story carved in sacrifice and built on resilience. Years earlier, when others slept soundly in their homes, Leela was awake in war zones, serving as a military strategist overseas. She had seen comrades fall, had buried friends whose names she whispered like prayers into the night. She carried their voices inside her, the sound of laughter cut short, the silence of absence that followed her back home. Those experiences hardened her spirit, but softened her heart. She had given everything to serve, and when she returned, she chose to build rather than destroy. That is how she began investing, brick by brick. She built a company, sleepless nights, endless rejections, and doors slammed in her face did not stop her. Her persistence turned into profit, her ideas into institutions. Eventually, the very bank where she now stood had become hers. She was not just a customer. She was the CEO, the majority shareholder, the unseen architect of the very walls surrounding them. And yet here she was, being told she could not access her own money. The lobby was heavy with silence. Some customers glanced nervously at their phones. Others lowered their eyes, unwilling to intervene. The teller's voice trembled slightly now, though still wrapped in false authority. "Ma'am, until you can provide additional proof, we cannot release the funds." Leela said nothing. She let the words echo, let the weight of injustice settle in the room. Her silence was not weakness, it was power. Then, with a steady breath, she placed her hand on the counter and spoke the line that shattered the illusion. "I own this bank." The words rolled through the lobby like thunder without sound. The manager, who had been watching from his glass office, stumbled forward, his face drained of color. Staff members exchanged panicked glances, realization dawning. Too late. Customers leaned in, wide-eyed, sensing they were witnessing something unforgettable. Leela did not explain further. She did not boast or argue. She simply let the truth stand. For a moment, the entire building seemed to bow beneath the weight of her dignity. The manager approached, voice shaking. "Ms. Grant, we had no idea." Her reply was calm, almost whisper soft. "Respect should not require a title. Dignity should not depend on recognition. The words pierced deeper than any rebuke. They lingered in the silence, forcing every soul in the room to confront the mirror of their own choices. Then came the shift. The same staff who moments before had doubted her now moved with frantic urgency to correct their mistake. Apologies spilled from lips that once spoke suspicion. Papers were stamped, accounts opened, doors flung wide. But no correction could erase the lesson already written. The crowd, once frozen in complicit silence, now stood taller. A young woman near the entrance whispered. She carried herself like a warrior. An older man nodded slowly, his eyes shining, and she didn't even raise her voice. By the time Leela turned to leave, the lobby stood in stillness once again. But it was not the silence of disbelief. It was the silence of respect. Heads bowed slightly. Strangers stepped aside, and for the first time that day, the weight of honor filled the room. Her steps echoed softly against the marble floor. A quiet anthem of victory, not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever been underestimated, doubted, or dismissed. Because sometimes the greatest power is not in shouting, not in demanding, but in standing tall with truth on your side, and her words, simple yet unshakable, would be remembered long after she walked out the door. Respect should not require a title. Every day, silent heroes walk among us, carrying stories we may never see, battles we may never know. This was not just about money. It was about dignity, respect, and the quiet strength that changes everything. Wherever you are watching from, take a moment to reflect. How often do we judge without knowing? How often do we dismiss what we don't understand? If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and subscribe for more stories that honor the unseen strength of everyday heroes.